making it hard for them to follow instructions.
Your phone's cutting out. Okay, is the person breathing?
You couldn't get reception in the room, so I grabbed my cell phone and I went to the hall, and that's when I got a reception, and I called Dr. Adams. And I said, Donda is not breathing. He said, did you check for a pulse? Do you know how? I said, yes, I know how to check for a pulse.
7:45 p.m. Paramedics arrive on the scene. Donda is not responding.
Nubia had lost it, and Glenda had froze. Glenda was froze. It's like time just stopped. It was so weird.
The paramedics are trying everything possible to bring her back to life.
Clear!
But at exactly 8:29 p.m., she is pronounced dead.
Tragedy strikes music superstar Kanye West. His mother, a woman he calls his soul and rock, is dead.
Kanye is 5,000 miles away in London when he hears the news.
When Kanye got the news, I mean, it must have been absolutely devastating. You've got to imagine that he hasn't just lost a mother, he's lost his best friend, and someone who was pretty much everything to him. It must have been an extremely tough flight home.
I actually called Donda to check on her after the surgery, and her assistant answered the phone crying, and she told me it, and I was just stunned.
I can't tell you how I felt. It was such overwhelming sadness and shock. Shock. How could this be?
The funeral for Donda West was held in Oklahoma City on November 20th, 2007. Around 1,000 friends and family mourned her death as Kanye led the funeral procession. For Dr. Hunter, the reason for her death just 24 hours after surgery is still not obvious.
On examination of the paramedics' report, there's an observation that there was this black material present about her face.
This could be vomited blood, which, if it is from stomach or intestinal bleeding, could be a symptom of a drug overdose. For example, from Vicodin.
The toxicology report states that there is 16 milligrams of hydrocodone in her stomach and a slightly elevated amount in her blood.
So did Donda die of an accidental overdose?
This report shows that Donda did not have any internal bleeding, and there was a slight increase in the hydrocodone in her blood. She is not dead from either a gastrointestinal hemorrhage or from the use of painkillers. What the paramedics saw that suggested to them a bleed within the stomach, the coffee ground emesis, is likely just vomitous material that's dried on her face. But her combined symptoms of chest pain, shivering, and vomiting brings up another possibility, and this is backed up by clues within the West family tree.
If I had known what I know now, if Dr. Jan Adams had known what, he wouldn't have touched her.
Donda West, mother of superstar Kanye West, died mysteriously at her home in Marina del Rey, California, just 24 hours after undergoing cosmetic surgery. Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Hunter has discovered that the surgery itself did not kill her. She did not overdose on pain medications or have a fatal internal infection, and there was no sign of a pulmonary embolism.
This is one of the most complicated cases I've ever seen. Donda West had a number of conditions that in and of themselves did not cause her death, but those conditions could put increased stress on her, particularly after a surgery like this. Now, when I look deep in the autopsy report, I think I'm finding the clue that's going to determine why she died. It states there's a history of heart disease within the West family. Donda's sister died 2 years previously of a heart attack, and her brother has hypertension. With that family history, it increases the risk that she could also have heart disease and put her at risk of a heart attack.
But this didn't put Donda off the idea of cosmetic surgery. In June 2007, she approached respected cosmetic surgeon Dr. Andre Aboulian to see if he would operate on her. He refused unless she had further tests to ensure her heart was strong enough to undergo surgery. But she never followed through. Instead, she turned to a different cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Jan Adams.
I think when someone has decided on a course of action they believe is going to be the best way to solve their problem, and they become committed to that course of action, then actually they don't really want to hear evidence to the contrary.
The autopsy also reveals that Donda had an evaluation for an episode of left chest and arm pain in late 2007 at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, less than 6 weeks before her surgery with Dr. Adams. Chest and left arm pain can indicate angina, a sign of severe heart disease. Donda did not mention this to her physician, Dr. Adams. And this is a crucial omission. By hiding this information from her physician, she's actually putting her life at risk.
Never lie to your doctor. Be upfront. I know, plastic surgery. Every woman wants to have plastic surgery. Every woman wants to be beautiful. But your health is more important than anything.
Now, Dr. Hunter has the evidence he needs to unravel the mystery of Donda West's death.
First, Donda should never have left the hospital so soon after a major procedure like this. Her vital signs needed to be followed and her condition also evaluated to see if there were any complications. And if those complications arose, there would be the care available to her to save her if need be. Secondly, Stephen Scoggins promised that type of nursing care, but that didn't happen. She was left in the care of two friends who really had no nursing background whatsoever.
She had a conversation with Scoggins, and he was going to take care of her. He was there to take care of her. And to me, he failed her.
Left alone with her friends, in her final minutes, Donda experiences chest pain, sweating, shortness of breath, and vomiting. These two are key clues to what killed her.
All of the symptoms that Donda displays suggest a heart attack. And buried deep within the autopsy report, we're seeing evidence of severe heart disease. She has anywhere from 50 to 70% narrowing of one of her coronary arteries. 80% narrowing of a coronary artery is considered critical, and those people can die suddenly and unexpectedly. Donda is just below that critical threshold, but the increased stress on her body, the pain from her surgery, the blood loss, as well as the pneumonia that's developing in her lungs, it's my opinion that she died of a massive heart attack. The surgery performed by Dr. Adams was done by the book. It's my opinion that Donda West's underlying health issues combined with the stress from surgery is what caused her death.
Dr. Adams took a fall for something he knew nothing about.
After walking off Larry King Live, Dr. Jan Adams returns to defend himself.
A lot of things being said in the press are certainly not accurate.
How bad has your practice been affected by this publicity?
Horribly.
The coroner confirmed that Dr. Adams was not responsible for Donda's death. Since 2009, a new California law, the Donda West Law, requires a patient to receive clearance from a doctor within 30 days before elective cosmetic surgery. A complaint was filed with the nursing board against Stephen Scoggins, but after investigation, it was dismissed. Following his mother's death, Kanye called off his engagement to Alexis Pfeiffer.
Donda West's experience should serve as a cautionary tale to anyone considering similar surgery. All cosmetic surgeries come with risk attached, and that risk can cost you your life.
Kanye has rarely spoken of his loss in public, but in a radio interview, he reflected on the consequences of his fame.
I feel like sometimes if, me and my mom never moved to Hollywood, that you'd still be here.
Last night I saw you in my dreams.
And in a moving performance at the 2008 50th Grammy Awards, exactly 3 months to the day his mother died, he expressed his overwhelming grief to the world.
I wrote this song just so you know, no matter when you go, mama, mama.